I hate the word fools to describe disability because it stems from the idea of them being foolish, being idiots, being simpletons.
Who was Jane Foole?
We don't even know whether Jane and Will had Down syndrome because the Tudors didn't categorise disability at all. Disability was seen as an ordinary part of life. They weren't pushed away and shunned in society. They were actually included.
Jane the Fool? There's nothing foolish about her. How foolish can someone be who carries the heart of the Queen of England? Nowadays, you have status symbols that you have when you're doing well, a nice car or a little chihuahua in a handbag, or these are accessories that you have. And I think people think about Jane being an accessory to the court. No, she wasn't. She was a very, very important part of Mary I's court.
She has a good job for entertaining the Queen and the King in the royal court. And she likes that job, but if you give that job away from her, then she gets into dangerous territory.
The Tudors looked on them as being really important because they had these physical or mental disabilities. They had already gone through purgatory in their lives, and so therefore they felt that God could speak through them with the use of the Holy Spirit, and therefore they were so important in advising monarchs, advising nobility, being around them. Jane was around in the Tudor court long before Queen Mary. You know, she was actually around during Henry VIII's reign and when Queen Anne Boleyn was on the throne. So not only had Jane built up this relationship with Mary over time, she'd had previous relationships with other queens that were close to Henry, Anne Boleyn first of all, and then Catherine Parr later on.
When you think of Mary, I mean, everyone thinks of her as Bloody Mary, and she hated the Protestants, which she probably did. But you've got to think as well, guys, from a child's point of view, you've got to think, how would she be feeling? Mum and Dad were really happy. Anne Boleyn came along. All of a sudden, Dad's not interested in Mum. So that was trauma. And then all through the divorce, you had 10 years of this. That girl needed someone to confide in, to be close to. That's even before Mary became queen. These two girls have grown up together and shared the good times and the horrendous bad times. Mary knew that it was a case of I get cut and you bleed and vice versa. I think there was a genuine love there for Jane, genuine from the heart. I think she was comfort, she was an ear, she was safe. In court, I mean, you've got so many people around you and they're all wanting a bit of you. As queen, they're wanting a piece of you, and all people who smile at you are not friends.
She had the worst time in court because there's enemies lurking in court. But when the Queen dies, she's not safe. And all the enemies are trying to get rid of her. She can't take it anymore, and she wants to escape.
It's such an intense experience to have. So the issue is, obviously she'd be wounded from that. So then it's like, has she got the strength and the wherewithal, mental capacity, to be able to find kind of a safe haven somewhere? And one would hope she is able to.
I think it needs to be shown the difficulties that she faces from living in that time as well, if she accepted into society once the twin dies.
Jane's experience is there's a lot of things that's been thrown at her, so she gets punished a lot. No one heard about Jane because there is no archives on her.
There's no other record of Jane whatsoever after Queen Mary's reign. And because we don't know what year she was born or how old she was, you know, we can't assume that Jane survived after Mary's death, really.
Yes, I think the general public needs to learn about certain aspects of the Tudor times as well as the normal times, because they might have Down syndrome or not. They may be normal or not. They may be an ordinary person or with a learning difficulty. I think people should tell more history about her than they're getting her.
Follow all the King's Fools, click and subscribe, and stay tuned for our next episode.